Hi guys, my name is Natalie Jones. I work with Focus Wales. During the festival, I work with the team managing shows, and all year round, I work with Focus on equality and diversity to make sure that our work and the way we communicate our work is as inclusive as possible. I'm pleased to be joined today by Yaw Owusu, who's leading on Power Up for the PRSF Foundation. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I look forward to telling you more about Power Up and hopefully finding a little bit more about the situation in Wales in reference to Black music creators and industry professionals as well. So everybody who's watching this, hopefully this is insightful and not too boring. I'll rattle through as fast as possible. I suppose, you know, people from Wales and people from Liverpool, we speak very fast, so hopefully you can still ask.
You do, I've noticed that.
Go through it. Here we go. So Power Up is managed by PRS Foundation in partnership with YouTube Music, Beggars, Black Music Coalition, and a variety of trade associations, including Creative Scotland, AIM, BPI, the FAC, Ivers Academy, MMF, MPG, MPA, Musicians Union, PPL, PRS for Music, and the PRS Members Fund. So it's quite a sector engaged initiative, and the focus is to support Black music creators and Black music industry professionals. But the wider aim is as seen on the screen now. It's an ambitious long-term initiative which will support Black music creators and industry professionals and executives, as well as addressing anti-Black racism and racial disparities in the music industry. The movement brings together several industry partners and goes beyond solidarity with new approaches which foster meaningful change. So why is Power Up needed? I'm sure everybody on this call right now knows that projects like this are very much needed, and there's a variety of reasons, and that, so I'll rattle through. But if you are interested in more information, we've got quite a lot on the prsfoundation.com /Power Up website as well. So the significant barriers being addressed through Power Up include structural and systemic racism and injustice, everyday prejudice in the workplace, marginalization and underrepresentation on stage, in studios, in the media, and in every genre and subsection of the music industry. A lack of visibility, particularly in senior roles and at executive level, in boardrooms and for Black-led companies and organizations, economic inequality, and inequitable financial benefit as well. So these are the main barriers that we are addressing through Power Up. So UK Music done a diversity report last year, and there's some quite hard-hitting and sobering stats, but some of them include only 7.8% of the music industry workforce surveyed identified as Black, and there's a significant drop in representation as the workforce ages, and also there's a significant drop when it comes to higher career levels. So when you look at Black representation in senior roles or influential roles, whether in a corporation or not, it decreases as you go further and further up in the UK music industry. PRS Foundation done their own survey on the back of their Sustaining Creativity Fund, and spoke to 400 Black creators about their experiences, and 78% said they had experienced racism within the music industry. Interestingly enough, 100% of classical applicants said they'd experienced racism. So again, it shows that certain genres may be dealing with some of these issues, even more so than others. 90% agree that there is a lack of visibility of Black industry professionals in senior roles. 66% agree that Black talent is underrepresented on stage, in the studio, and in the media. And 69% agree that music funding is less accessible for Black talent. So you can see on the back of this why a program and an initiative like Power Up is very much needed. And Arts Council have done their own kind of survey, the Creative Case Data report, which shown that only 10% of chief execs, 15% of board members, and 11% of senior managers at national portfolio organizations are people of Black or minority ethnic origin. So, there's massive work that needs to go on, and Power kind of fits in trying to do our part to contribute to positive change.
Yeah, it's a really amazing scheme. I'm really glad to see it. It's really interesting. I'm really glad you're, it's a really great presentation. Thank you so much.
So what do we want to achieve with this? Well, through Holistic Power Up participant program and the Power Up movement, we'll break down barriers to create a more fairer, more equitable music industry for Black creators and industry professionals, better representation in all sectors of the UK music industry, and to support innovative and exciting Black talent to create exceptional new music in all genres and at all career levels, and to amplify the work of Black creators and industry professionals to accelerate change. So who's involved? Power Up is managed by PRS Foundation, who I'm sure you'll know about. PRS Foundation are kind of the leading funding organisation for new music in the UK. Partners include YouTube Music, Beggars Group, and the Black Music Coalition I mentioned before, and loads of other key partners that kind of prop up the industry on a day-to-day. More than 80 Black music executives and creators came together to contribute to and steer Power Up. So from the beginning, we've done a number of focus groups covering recording, publishing, live platforms, gender, sexuality, enterprise, and regionality. And we listened to everyone about their experiences of being Black in the UK music industry, and we took on board some of their suggestions of what Power Up should do. As well as the focus groups, we also set up an executive steering committee, which features some of the UK's most impressive executives crossing generations and sectors. And they pretty much are the strategic steer of Power Up, because from the beginning it was very important that it was Black led and designed for the benefit of Black professionals. As well as the executive steering committee, we've got a host of ambassadors who are very keen and very much believe in what we're doing and will be championing what we are doing. So these include Kano, Ray Black, DJ Target, Dummy from Disturbing London, Tiny Temper's manager, Lady Alicia, Posty, Alex Boateng from 0207 Def Jam, Shanice Charway from YouTube, Tiffany Calver from Radio 1 and 1 Extra, Rashid from Link Up TV, and Sabrina Washington from Mystique. So the participant program, which I'm sure you've all heard about, hence why you're on this this call, is designed to elevate exciting Black music creators and industry professionals and address barriers for those at crucial career stages. So essentially, it's a long-term project for anyone in the UK, and will support 20 Black music creators, so they can be artists, songwriters, composers, producers, working in any genre, and 20 Black executives and industry professionals. So every year we'll be supporting 20 of each, and I'll get into a little bit more about what the program holds next. So the Power Up participant program, participants will power up through a grant support of up to £15,000. So if you're a music creator, you can get up to £15,000. If you're an industry executive or an industry professional, you can get up to £10,000. So that's grant support, but it's so much more than the grant support. You'll also get a bespoke and holistic capacity building support built around the non-financial needs of the participants, which may include training and development, mentoring and coaching, and other one-to-one support, which I'll explain a little bit more in the next slide. You'll also have access to partners and their added value support. So each partner who's involved is not just involved from a stance of trying to show solidarity. These partners are very much adding a lot of value to the program to ensure that people do get powered up. And then you'll also receive marketing and promotional support from PRS Foundation and Power Up partners. So the holistic support I mentioned before is essentially a year-round program that kicks off with network meetups and a period of induction to determine the training and development support offered to power up each participant. So support on offer will include masterclasses, workshops, webinars, other sessions focused on professional and creative development. So we see about 20 sessions happening. Some will be compulsory and some will be elective. There'll be elite mentoring, so participants will be paired with suitable mentors identified from partners and from our wider network. And there'll be at least 4 meetups between mentors and mentees during the program. And then there'll be coaching, so we'll be doing group coaching sessions, and they'll be offered during the induction period. And then some participants will be offered individual coaching in place of the mentoring offer. Also, as part of the holistic support, there'll be mental health and well-being training this will include for music creators, it will come from PRS Members Fund, and for non-members of PRS for Music, you'll be offered mental health and wellbeing first aid training from Music Support. Also, there'll be a lot of bespoke activities facilitated by Power Up and partners. This can include things like legal experts coming in or business consultants, etc., etc. And there's a formal network support. The good thing about this is, because if you apply and you're successful, you'll be part of a network of 40 professionals, both music creators and industry professionals. And the idea is there'll be peer-to-peer support and sharing of best practice, knowledge, skills, etc., etc. And even outside of the 40 every year, there'll be a wider network and wider events that we will be plugging the program into. So a little bit more about the network. The results of the network will include building confidence through a supportive network of creative leaders, empowering voices in safe spaces, promoting role models, diversifying career options for all participants at all career levels. And what we found is, again, from our focus groups and the research, especially for those who are in regions or nations, the idea of a network, is one which is very important, because especially, again, if you're not from certain genres or you're not from certain areas, you might feel like you haven't got a network. And we understand the value of a network, not just in supporting each other, but in also enabling better impact of your own activities. So we see the network as being quite an important part of the program. So in terms of criteria, what we're looking to support exciting Black music creators and industry professionals who can demonstrate, one, that they've experienced barriers relating to being Black in the music sector. Two, how and why grant support and participation will have a transformative impact at crucial career points. And three, what they'll get out of working with a network of other Black creators and executives. Four, why they want to be part of Power Up and their participant program, and what they'll bring to the program and the network in terms of unique skills, capabilities, and experiences. And five, that there's a need for financial and holistic support. So to kind of go a little bit deeper on the music creator side, so if you're a music creator, this is a little bit more of what we're looking for, essentially in relation to yourself and your application. So it's for those who are making exciting new music, working in any genre. So this is not, it doesn't have to be any particular genre. We're supporting any genre whatsoever, right from drill and hip hop right through to classical, everything in between. You can be based anywhere in the UK, obviously, so Wales, people, we welcome as many applications from Wales and anywhere else in the UK, and from all backgrounds. So we're going to attempt to make sure we represent as many genres, regions, nations, scenes as possible. What we need you to do essentially is apply, so we can do that to the best of our ability. So music creators, we're also looking for those who've reached a crucial tipping point, and I can't overstate this fund and this program is not for like new artists or new industry professionals who've just started. We're after people who are literally being plying at their trade, doing great work, and are at a point where they just need that extra support to kind of break through the glass ceiling. So again, taking into consideration things like genre, region, nation, or scene, we really want to be able to see that participants will have achieved a level of success that warrants this level of support from Power Up, and we want to be able to help them forge a long and successful career. So on the PRS Foundation website, there's loads of guidance as to what that would look like. But again, Natalie, if you've got any questions on that, we can touch on that after this presentation. So,
it's just helping people get over that last hurdle, isn't it? When they seem to have, been stuck in a rut, they've had a good amount of success, they're well known, they're good at what they do, but it's just getting that little boost to get over the final.
Yeah, exactly. So I being based in Liverpool, but also having quite a footing in London, I can see that the tipping points for artists are totally different. And what we're saying is we will be looking at it relatively to where you are or what genre you're in. And then the challenge, regionally is like some artists do really well in their cities or towns, especially outside London. And there will be the biggest thing there. But sometimes it's hard to just, you're hitting this glass ceiling, because it's not enough you can do in your scene apart from maybe go laterally, but you really want to keep going vertically. You want to grow, and sometimes it's kind of like, well, how do I get key people in London to know about me, or how do I make those links? And the idea is that's when we're hopefully going to come in with this, with the funding and with the program to help you do that. And obviously that's just on the creator side. It's slightly different for industry professionals, but a similar challenge. So yeah, so music creators, so we're looking for exciting music, any genre, based anywhere in the UK, from all backgrounds. You've got to have reached a crucial tipping point in your career, and we've got to know that the funding and support that you need will have significant impact on your progression, which is important. We want to make sure that we're supporting the people who need it, but also the people who are going to, you know, use it to impactfully change their career. So in terms of industry executives and professionals, we're looking to support Black music executives and industry professionals based anywhere in the UK, working in any sector of music. So you can be in live, you can be in business affairs, you can be in consultancy, you can be in events, you can whatever, and have established track record, but may face barriers to progression based on race. This includes, you know, you can be employee, you can be entrepreneur, you can be freelance, you can be self-employed professional. Again, you know, to reiterate, this is not designed for entry-level professionals, so applicants must have a minimum of 3 years experience within music. Eligible roles are very wide, but, you know, again, I've mentioned before, they can cover A&R, business affairs, promoters, managers, and we will attempt to kind of have a nice balance of different roles within the first program. So what can you spend your money on? You know, before I mentioned that music creators get up to £15,000, and, you know, we will need to see a strong plan and a budget breakdown to justify kind of the areas of spend, but we expect music creators to be probably, you know, looking to use their money on music creation and performance, distribution, marketing and promotion. Even travel and childcare can be covered as well. So again, look at the guidance notes on the prsfoundation.com/power up website, and, you know, there's quite a long list of things that you can spend your money on. For industry professionals, executives, you can up to £10,000. Again, we are suggesting that your grant may be spent on things like training, development, music projects, campaigns, events, product launches, business costs, equipment, and or the development of new businesses. Okay, so some key information before I wrap it up. So the deadline is Wednesday the 10th of March, 6 p.m. This application form could take between 3 and 4 hours, so please do make sure you're not starting it at 2 p.m. on Wednesday the 10th. Start chipping away at it. It's not intense by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously because it's going to be such a competitive fund, and because we want to make sure we're getting the right people, there's questions there that almost, you know, allow you to share where you're at, your idea, the barriers you've been facing. So it just needs to be given ample time. The week beginning the 19th of April, we will be communicating with all the applicants to give them the decision. Late April, we'll announce all the participants for year one, and then late April, start of May, we'll start the program, which will run to the end of March 2022. How do you apply? You go to prsfoundation.com/power up, and you can start an application there. Obviously, there's loads of guidance there as well, so you can read more about the different areas and, you know, specific guidance on how you do application form. And there's a great video on YouTube that we recorded a couple of days ago that goes through how to apply again. So just search PRSF Music and Power Up. And just to let you know, when you go to apply, you've got to set yourself up on FlexiGrant, which is on the PRS Foundation site, and it's just their funding portal. But you make sure you leave a little bit of time to be able to set yourself up on that as well before you start your application. And how are decisions made? What happens is when you apply, you submit. After the deadline, we'll be congregating a group of external advisors who we are working hard to make sure they reflect, you know, the various different genres and areas, etc., and knowledge of the UK music industry, and they will score and make shortlist and recommendations, and then the recommendations will get sent to independent expert advisors who will sit on a panel and will go through the shortlisted applications, and then again, as I said before, beginning 19th of April, we'll be communicating who has been successful and not. So yeah, there's our key information. But I'll come back out of this and have a little chat with Natalie if there's anything that you want to know more about.
That was a really lovely presentation, really informative. Thank you so much. What about if someone was unsure whether they should apply? There was other women and Aaron on the fence about it. What would you say to them? What would you?
Well, I'd say, again, like there's some great advice in the video I mentioned, and I'll make sure the team at Focus Wales gets it to be able to share it. But like, if you believe you're at that level and you're hitting a glass ceiling, and you know that glass ceiling isn't just because you haven't tried hard enough, or because, if you know that, your race has fundamentally played the part in the lack of progression, and it's consistent, and you're doing great work, and you really know this opportunity can change your career, I'd say apply. It's like nothing ventured, nothing gained. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, and I think, and I know this factually, and I'm sure it's the same in Wales, I just know that sometimes we often lack the confidence when it comes to music, just because of how disenfranchised we are a lot of times as Black people and people of colour outside of the main hub, which is London. Sometimes we just don't go for opportunities because we just don't believe we've got a shot. Where you have all got a shot with this. It's structured and created to make sure it is open to all, any Black professional, any Black music creator, any, working in any space, in any city, in any town within the UK. So this is the probably, I think, I'll say this as myself and not as PR's foundation, I don't think there's been anything that's been like this ever in the UK music industry. So I'd say have a go at this. And, again, if you don't succeed, there's going to be lots of feedback. And even bigger than that, you can see Power Up's a bit of a movement. So we want to engage with people regardless. If they're not on the participant program, we'll still be doing activities and networking and whatever. And especially again outside of London, we want to really make sure we're also signposting to other funding or other opportunities that may exist. So please do apply and be counted, so to speak.
Yeah, it's quite interesting you use the term, specifically use the term Black rather than people of colour. Is that just, somebody who identifies as Black, somebody who has Black heritage?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, that there's a definition on the site, and it is essentially, do you define yourself as Black, or do you have Black heritage? And what we try to do with this is be very direct, and I think we all know that, on the back of tragedies that constantly happen, but especially the George Floyd incident last year. It's like, and the Black Lives Matter movement, it's like, we're unapologetically saying Black. This is for people who consider themselves Black or are Black or have Black heritage. This is for you. The people of colour conversation is very wide, and and that's not to discredit it, because we know that people of colour, are facing many barriers, including in the UK music industry. But this is specifically for Black music creators and Black industry professionals.
Awesome, thank you so much. Is there an age limit on it? Is there any upper or lower age limit? No,
well, really, I think, if I'm correct, it's you can't apply if you're under 16. It might be 18, but please someone check. But there's no upper age limit. And again, from when we're sitting with the steering committee and when we're putting together the form, our whole thing was, you can hit a glass ceiling anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
And to limit it and say, oh no, when you're 35, after that you're stuck. Like, it wouldn't make any sense. You're after you're 40 or after you're 45. So, our take on it was like, we've got to allow anybody. And again, it goes to like the Black experience sometimes within the UK music industry is a lot of people move laterally for years and have to do loads of different things. So by the time they work out what they really want to do, and they're not getting shut down by a million people and the systems that be, they might go, okay, this is what I want to do, and they're still trying, but they're not getting anywhere. And you could be 42, you could be 50 when it's gone through, and it doesn't take away from your ability or your need and your suitability for what Power Up is given. If anything, I think it might be more valid as you get further into your career, because you know you have, I said in the start before, it becomes harder to break through as you get older anyway. So you know, it's taken into consideration. Again, not to say, you know, the older you are, the more chance you get on Power Up. That's not the fact, but I'm just saying we want to be as open and inclusive as possible.
Of course, yeah. You're more likely to, as you say, be stuck at that glass ceiling for, you know, an amount of time, you know, before, you know, not be getting anywhere, and that person, regardless of age, is the ideal candidate to apply. What about if, let's say, you weren't sure if it was 16 or 18, what about if someone's a student? Could they apply still, or what are the rules?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one with being a student. I think it'll be hard for full-time and well, specifically full-time students to probably be successful, only because with this, the idea is that you've applied yourself to the music industry and you're hitting a good ceiling. And if you're doing something else for 60 hours a week, for instance, or whatever, 40 hours a week, it's probably hard to say you've really applied to the, you know, applied your energies to the industry and haven't got anywhere. But there are, you know, specific circumstances, like people who are going to be doing masters, or people who are doing part-time university, or doing, you know, diplomas, night school stuff. Like you should still apply. But again, if I take the focus less off, are you in college or education, and more on, you know, are you in a glass ceiling? Are you doing great work? Have you been in the industry for a certain amount of time? Is there a need? Will this change your career options or your ability to succeed? If we focus on that, anything else can be mitigated, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? So I know there's probably people who do go to uni who might be the best promoter in their city and just doing loads of clubs, but it's hitting barriers when they're trying to do festivals or whatever. So again, you know, there will always be exceptions to the rule. So I'd say just apply and explain. And that's why, again, we've left ample space for people to explain their specific circumstances and why Power Up is relevant and needed for them.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really great. Thank you. What about, let's say, if people have applied to other funds, would that, you know, discount them from applying to this one, or is it pretty sort of open?
Yeah, even if you've applied and been successful with other PRS Foundation funds, you can still apply for Power Up, because Power Up is probably unlike other funding streams, because Power Up also has this program which at a network which is arguably as important as the money. So you might go and get 20 grand from somewhere to do your album or marketing or whatever it may be, or a tour, but the holistic support that Power Up's given might be as valuable as that money, or as valuable as that money. So we're not penalizing people from being successful on other funding. Again, it's just if you've got funding that is for the same activity you're applying to Power Up for, please just be transparent with the fact you've got funding and how it will help, because if you know, it's not a negative, but just make sure we are aware of how you're building the project or the activity and where you're getting money from, etc., in your budget. Yeah,
that's really great. Thank you so much. I think that's all I've got to ask you from our side. Is there anything else you'd like to drop in before we go?
I'm curious always to, like, what's it like for, you know, like, what are the main barriers you feel music creators and industry professionals will have in Wales broadly, and, you know, do you feel like what Power Up's offering will meet and be able to help, basically?
Yeah, most definitely. I think this is ideal for so many artists in Wales, Black artists in Wales, because, you know, the music scene here in Wales is really vibrant and really, you know, there's so many great artists coming out at the moment. But it is that question of the glass ceiling, as you say. We might be popular in their city, they might be popular in Wales in general, but sometimes there seems to be almost, I think, as you put it, the glass ceiling, you know, is just becoming more national or international, and getting out of the city, out of Wales, to be more sort of UK wide. I think, you know, the Power Up scheme would be, you know, incredibly useful. I really would encourage all young Black Welsh artists to get involved and put the application in, because, as you say, nothing ventured, nothing gained. And I think it would, you know, just to give them that boost at the point in their career where they really, you know, need it just to break out there. It's just, I think, and the support as well, not just the money, the holistic support that's being offered, I think is fantastic, and I think it's a really great opportunity.
And how do you think it is for emerging industry professionals? Are there enough Black industry professionals in Wales, or do you think, like,
not
get them on board, you know what I mean, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think you know, definitely, and as you said, in upper levels, there's very little representation. I know for myself, you know, I always wanted to work in the music industry, but I never really saw anybody that looked like me. And for a long time when I was younger, I just thought, oh, you know, maybe they'll take one look at me and go, no, you know. So I think representation definitely matters. Definitely matters. It's really, really important, especially for younger, not just for younger people, but especially for young people coming through, that they can see somebody that mirrors, you know, that is like them, that looks like them. I think it's really important.
Well, that's, you know, from I suppose unselfish part, I hope that people look at that and go, well, that's why maybe I go for Power Up, because if I can do it and make a success of myself, it means that kids growing up and coming up on both sides, music creators and industry professionals, but them ones can actually look and go, look, somebody can make it, because that's the whole point. We want to power up this 40, and then everyone's looking up and see these 40 and goes, oh, that's amazing, I can do it. And then every year 40 for 10 years, and then, you know, you'll have 400 and stuff like that. So, but we, you know, again, I know this from my own journey in UK music industry, is like, we definitely need those people to go for it, and trailblazers in areas outside of London, so you know you can make it without having to necessarily leave your city, nation, town, or whatever. So yeah, so hopefully, you know, this chat will help. We'll see a flurry, we'll see a massive spike of Welsh applicants.
Yeah, let's hope so. I really hope so.
I'm about and available, so maybe if you contact Focus Wales and you've got any specific questions, they'll pass on my details, and, you know, if there's any specific questions, I can be available to chat, or to at least just email or find out the answers to what you may need.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. We will put all the links, all the contact details, everything that everybody will need to get in touch with you and to sort of find out more about Power Up as well. We'll be putting them along with the video in the comments or underneath the video, so it'll be there, easy for everybody to get hold of if they want it.
Thank you very much for having me, Natalie. I appreciate your time.
And no, thank you so much. A lot of information there. Really interesting to speak to you. Thank you.
Cool. Speak soon.